Alright, so everyone knows the twin Earth thought experiment, but people don't know that there was a second thought experiment in the essay that was introduced, The Meaning of Meaning by Hilary Putnam, that I think is honestly a better argument. If I remember to put a timestamp for the second argument, I will put it here, but the original twin Earth thought experiment by Hilary Putnam, he first establishes the idea of twin Earth by talking about Oscar. So let's say there's Oscar on Earth, but somewhere out in the universe there is this other Earth that's identical to Earth in every way, every single way, atom by atom. Everybody who's on Earth has a chemically identical twin on twin Earth, and so does Oscar. So the first question he asks is, if by some magic or crazy quantum event Oscar and twin Earth Oscar were to teleport and switch places instantaneously, such that they didn't even notice that they switched, and Oscar, who's now on twin Earth, goes and finds Sarah, who is his friend on Earth, and he thinks he's talking to Sarah, but really he's talking to twin Earth Sarah. So when he's thinking, I'm talking to Sarah, is he thinking something false? So even though his brain state and his perception of twin Earth Sarah is absolutely not only indistinguishable, but it's literally identical, even though the brain state is exactly the same and the object is exactly the same as real Earth Sarah, is he wrong in thinking I am talking to Sarah? Because really he's talking to twin Earth Sarah. So it gets even, he goes further with it with the popular version of it, which is the H2O XYZ distinction in twin Earth. So let's say that instead of Earth and twin Earth being exactly the same, they're exactly the same in every way, except on Earth, the water, the lakes and the rivers and the stuff that we drink is H2O, right? And we call it water. But on twin Earth, it's actually this other, chemical compound called XYZ, or we'll abbreviate it as XYZ, but really it's long and complicated. But the important thing is that XYZ is indistinguishable from H2O. And until the guy who... Until Henry Cavendish discovered that water was H2O, the people on Earth and the people on twin Earth never had no difference in their belief, right? Because once twin Earth Henry Cavendish found out that it was XYZ, there was some split, right? So we were to say, let's say Henry Cavendish didn't exist or something, and we didn't know that H2O existed yet, but we had some spaceship and we sent an astronaut over to twin Earth, and he discovered twin Earth, and he goes on twin Earth and he says, twin Earth has water. Is he saying something that's false? He sees this thing, this wet stuff that he can drink that fills the rivers and streams and lakes of twin Earth. Is he wrong in saying that it's water? Because it's chemically different from water, right? Like if Henry Cavendish were to go over to twin Earth knowing that normal Earth water is H2O, he would analyze it and he'd be like, oh, this is XYZ, this is something that isn't water, right? And since all of the water that our astronaut has ever interacted with was H2O, even though he didn't know it, is he wrong in thinking that XYZ is H2O? And then we would ask, well, what if Henry Cavendish did exist, and this astronaut did know that water was H2O, and he were to interact with the XYZ on Twin Earth? Would he be wrong in saying that it's water then? Because it's his sensory input is indistinguishable from water. But is that sufficient for water? Then we get to the second argument. And here's the second argument that people don't talk about, which I think is like even more convincing. Or ultimately what Putnam's getting at is he's saying that, no, it's not water. That the astronaut is wrong in saying that it's water. And even though some person on Twin Earth might have a certain brain state corresponding to their perception of water, which is identical to the brain state of an Earthian who has their conception of water, even though the brain states are identical, the object to which they're referring is different. So his big abbreviation for this is meaning just ain't in the head. That it's not enough that a brain state has certain attributes or certain conceptions, or even has even scientific theories about something. That is not enough to determine its reference. There's something about the world and about what objects the person interacted with in order to build this conception, which is a relevant part of the reference of the term, such that when Twin Earth person says says this is water and holds up a glass of XYZ, they're saying something that's true. But if they were to find some H2O and say this is water, they would be saying something that's wrong, because to them, water has only ever meant XYZ, not just something that's, visually indistinguishable from XYZ. So this is the second argument, which I think is even more convincing, is the molybdenum-aluminum twin Earth argument. So in real life, there is this element molybdenum, and molybdenum is, to any normal non-chemist, non-geologist, molybdenum is indistinguishable from aluminum. It is like reasonably as hard, reasonably as flexible, it's the same color. It could be used in the same stuff and nobody would really know. Such that if a person were to see a aluminum pan and see a molybdenum pan, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So Putnam says, let's imagine that on Twin Earth, everywhere where aluminum is on Earth, Twin Earth has molybdenum. And everywhere where molybdenum is on Earth, Twin Earth has aluminum. And on Twin Earth, they call what really is molybdenum aluminum. And they call what really is aluminum molybdenum. So that on Earth and Twin Earth, the definitions for aluminum and molybdenum are flipped. So when Twin Earth Sarah has some molybdenum pan, and she has a brain state associated with the molybdenum pan, and she calls the molybdenum pan an aluminum pan, right? And that brain state, talking about her aluminum pan, which is really molybdenum, is identical to an Earthian who has an aluminum pan and calls it an aluminum pan, and it is really an aluminum pan. If their brain states are identical, would Twin Earth Sarah be wrong if she were to come to Earth and see an aluminum pan, which to her would be called a molybdenum pan, and Sarah were to say, this is an aluminum pan? And Twin Earth and Earth Sarah would both say of the aluminum pan, this is an aluminum pan. But only real Earth Sarah would be correct, because only real Earth Sarah has ever known the word aluminum to correspond to the element aluminum. Whereas Twin Earth Sarah has only known the word aluminum to designate what in reality is molybdenum. So even though Twin Earth and Real Earth Sarah brain states are identical, perfectly identical, atom by atom, they're identical, Sarah is correct in the same proposition as Twin Earth Sarah is incorrect. And yeah, this is his argument that brain state alone is not enough to determine reference, because if it was, then both Sarahs would be correct in thinking that the pan was aluminum, even though twin Earth Sarah is wrong.